Morning, we're here today at Reef and Fisheries in Norfolk. I'm going to run you through 10 steps that hopefully will improve your pole fishing. So, first thing to consider for a nice day's pole fishing is being comfortable. You need to think about your seat box, your nets, your bait, anything you're going to need during the day, hook lengths, your rollers, everything set up comfortable. I've got a support bar there for spare sections to lay against. Personally, I suffer from a bad back quite a lot, so I need to get my box comfortable. The best way I found to do that is I tilt slightly forward, so I have my back legs raised a bit, middle legs a bit less, and then front legs on the floor. So I'm just leaning that little bit more towards the water, and it just makes everything easier. You're not stretching, you're not reaching, you're just in a natural position. As I mentioned, spare hook lengths, bait tray nice and high so everything's comfortable. Have my keep nets raised a little bit so I can rest my landing net on them, and that's within easy reach. You're not reaching down there for it. Easy then to transfer the fish to the net as well. So just have a think about how you set everything up. Just for a nice easy day, everything's within reach, and it makes it all more pleasant. So step 2 to improving your pole fishing is having to think about your rollers. It's not necessarily just a case of just plonking them down here, there or anywhere. Just have a little think about it. Today we're fishing relatively short poles, so I've got them quite close together, but when you're fishing 13, 14 metres, you need to think about where to position them. I always think maybe 4 metres back, the first roller is a comfortable position to get on. Then you just need to balance the second roller out with the pole. You want it as close to you as you can get it without being too close that the pole then tips up. So you just need to get the balance right. Today we've got no obstructions behind us, so it's easy to ship back. If you've got trees and bushes and things, you need to get them set up. And what I do in that case is I always set them up so I can go against the centre bar on each roller, either that side or that side, depending on what the wind's doing. You can use them as a guide to get through any tight spaces. So it's worth taking a little bit of time before you start just to get those set up properly. It saves you so much time jamming your pole against trees and bushes and whatever. Just get it set up right. The other thing I like to do is to keep them as low as possible. Should they fall off the roller or you miss the roller, they're at low level and they're not going to get damaged. And B, just that natural level of where you're shipping is low. You don't want to be shipping like that, just ship nice and low. So just take a bit of time, think about getting it right, because that little bit of extra time getting it right at the beginning makes your whole day so much more easy. Something worth considering is whether you carry leg extensions for your rollers. Fortunately, where we are today, the bank's nice and flat, so I don't need them, but on more than one occasion, these have got me out of trouble where I'm shipping over fences or high ground behind me. They literally just clip on the bottom of your roller legs. Also got an extension, so giving you probably another 3 foot height on your rollers, where if you've got something you need to get over, well, basically without them it's impossible, so it's always worth considering those, just for those odd occasions when you've got obstacles behind you. Right, step 3 to a nice day's pole fishing is thinking about how you actually hold your pole. You need to get your knees at around 90-degree angle, so basically they support the pole. You can do whatever you want with your hands then. You can hold it however you want, you can just trap it under your elbow. You can see I'm not fishing long today, but you can see I'm holding my pole, my rig's in position, and I can do what I want with my hands purely by having the box and my foot plate, the height and everything set properly. I prefer to sit at sort of a 45-degree angle, so I have it over my knees like that, and it's just everything is comfortable. You're then in a good position to ship back as well. If you're fishing multiple lines, literally just move around and still have it at that 45-degree angle wherever you're going. Move your body, don't just sit there and move the pole, move your whole body, so you're always supporting the pole against your legs over the course of a day. If you're holding your pole and fishing at funny angles, it will take its toll on you. So get your box height right, get comfortable, and it's easy. Probably the most important part of the day. you need to plumb all around your peg to find out the contours of the bottom, if you've got any dips, any bars. You obviously need to plumb your margins. You need to have a really, even if you're not intending to fish there, just spend 10 minutes having a good plumb around your peg to see if there's any features. I prefer to use a heavy plummet. That's a 20 gram plummet I've got on there, so it gives you a definite, nice, firm reading. Where to plumb to? I like to plumb so I've got that much of the float visible. I like to plumb to the bottom of the body. That just gives you that little bit of leeway. If the bottom, I mean, during the course of a day, the fish can erode the bottom and your peg can get deeper without you realising it. So just that little bit of leeway gives you a definite that your bait is on the bottom, it's anchored, it's where you want it. I think it's important to use, like I said, a relatively heavy plummet, a 20 grammer in this case. Just gives you a nice, firm, definite reading. Once I've found the depth where I want to be, I simply just put some Tipp-Ex on the pole, hook your rig up on the bottom of the pole and mark there. Easy, scrape it off the next time so you're not left with a million Tipp-Ex marks on the pole. Just have a good plumb around so you know exactly what you're looking at, any features, any bars. They can all hold fish, deep holes, shallow bars. Fish just like features, so have a good plumb round and just find out what's in front of you. One thing to think about when plumbing and marking the depth, obviously we're marking the depth if you want to change your rig, if you snap up, if you need to put a new rig on, we're relying on that as a marker. What most people will do is simply hook the rig in the end of the pole and then mark. That's not technically right because you're not allowing for the stretch. If the next time you put a rig on, the gap between your float and your connector is different, or if you go on a different top kit with a heavier elastic, or if anything's different, that's not actually the true depth. So the best way to do it is to take the rig off. So whatever elastic, whatever line, if that gap's different next time, simply take the rig off so it's relaxed, hook it on the end of the pole, and then mark. So you'll see where I marked before is actually, what's that, 2 inches over depth. So I need to mark it here with a relaxed rig. So if you change your elastic, if your rig's a different length, that is actually the true reading there. Right, the next step to improving your pole fishing is thinking about bait. I like to keep it as simple as I can. There's no point bringing a load of different baits and feeding bits and bobs here or there. Think about the venue, think about the fish you're trying to catch and tailor your bait to those. Today I've gone dead simple. I've got some micro pellets and some corn, which I'm feeding through a pot for fishing on the deck. The weather's warming up a little bit at the moment, so there's a possibility of some fish shallow. So I've got an assortment of hard pellets, which I'll be looking either to mug the fish or slapping. They're not going to come to feed at the moment, it's not that warm yet, but just some hard pellets to give me that option. So just dead simple. I can do many different things with just those 3 tubs of bait. So yeah, just keep it simple and work on your fishing rather than worrying about the bait. Something else to consider on the pole is how we're hooking our baits. When you're fishing method feeders or bombs, you automatically band a pellet or use a super stop to fish meat or corn. And it's something that isn't really thought of that often on the pole. Obviously, if you're fishing hard pellet on the pole, you automatically band it. But other baits like meat and corn that most people would automatically directly hook. If I'm fishing, say, to an island at sort of 14, 16 metres, when you're missing bites, you don't want to have to be coming back and rebaiting your corn or rebaiting your meat if it comes off. So in those situations, I would put it on a super stop on the pole, which perhaps is something that people don't automatically think, but it's just saving you that time coming back and rebaiting. Same if you're fishing meat shallow, rather than directly hooking it, I'd put it on a super stop. I think not only does it stay on better if you're missing bites, but I think the hooking ability of it on a stop is better than directly hooked. So yeah, just think about what you're doing, saving time, shipping in and out, rebaiting. You have got options on the pole of how you hook baits. We've spoken about directly hooking baits on the pole. Pretty much 2 hooks cover my whole summer commercial fishing. This is the MXC1 size 16 to 014 hook length in the 6-inch, which is ideal. This covers pretty much all of my fishing, F1, small carp. There is the odd occasion down the edge or snaggy pegs where you need to step it up a bit. That's where the MXC2 size 14 to 018, again in 6-inch, that comes in. This big carp, margin, snaggy swims. That's a hook and a line that literally will not let you down. So, on to probably the most important thing when it comes to pole fishing or any fishing is feeding. There's no right or wrong. You can't decide before you get there how you're going to feed because you don't know how the fish are going to respond to the feed. Many different ways: loose feeding, catapulting, potting, either flexi toss pots, just tiny little amounts of bait, or big pots. I'd always err on the side of caution and start off feeding with the smaller pot, or if you're loose feeding or catapulting, very low quantity. See how the fish respond to the feed on the day, and let them tell you how you want to feed. There's always a place for big pots, generally down the margins or short. If the fish are really responding to feed, you can feed large volumes of weight and catch big weights of fish. Harder days, or most days, just small pot in small amounts of bait, taking it gently, see how the fish are responding to feed. If they are obviously responding, then you can always step it up, but I'd always start cautiously, feel your way in, see how the fish are feeding, then step it up if you need to. So, on to elastic choice. I was always a massive fan of solid elastics because I felt it gave me so much more control over the fish. I was never a fan of hollows, I didn't use hollow. I'm now totally converted to our slick elastic. It's in every single one of my top kits, various sizes. I'm on the 14 to 16 today, which is relatively heavy, but we've got a chance of some big fish. The thing I love about slick though is I've caught crucians, F1s, 12-pound carp today, and this elastic has been perfect for all of it. It's forgiving enough that the F1s and the crucians are no problem whatsoever, but then you cook a 12-pounder and it quickly powers up. Unless you've used it, I can't describe it to you, it's just so unique. What one you choose purely depends on the venue and the size of the fish. Like today I'm on, like I say, the 14 to 16 because there is a chance of some big fish like I've now hooked. If I was purely fishing for F1s, I'd go down 1 or 2 grades. Similarly, if it was out and out bagging for big fish, I'd have no hesitation in going heavier. It is just a brilliant elastic. So I'll probably lose this one now I said that, but you can see it's powered up now, one pull on the puller, and it suddenly becomes powerful, whereas when you first lift into the fish, it's very forgiving. So that a 2-pound mirror landed in 30 seconds. Right then, so we've spoke about preparation, hooks, lines, elastic, everything. The final part is obviously playing the fish. Always remember that the harder you pull, the harder back they'll pull. So keep everything nice and smooth, nice and gentle, nice and low. Don't be lifting your pole up in the air, just try and keep everything low until that last minute when you can then lift up. See, we've got a decent fish on here, so I'm not going to bully it. You've done the hard part in hooking it. So everything nice and low, smoothly back onto your rollers, nice and gentle, nice and low. You've hopefully got the right elastic in. So again, don't bully him, just keep everything nice and low. It's a big fish. So still always low. You can change the angle. That actually confuses the fish if you change the angle and stops them if they're running. So last minute now, the fish is within netting range. Still no need to pull its head off, just nice and gentle. Be patient. Need another pull. It's a decent fish this, and they do fight in here. So if he wants to run like that, again, put your pole tip back down low. Every time he runs, go low and you turn him. And then we're back to just being patient again now. And here he comes. Nice big common, about 6 pound. Very well hooked. Lovely fish, 6 or 7 pound common. Just keep everything low and everything smooth. Well, hopefully you've taken something away from today's video to help you with your own pole fishing. Remember to like and subscribe to the Matrix YouTube channel for loads more videos from myself and many of the other consultants. Get this fish in and we're going to call it a day. Thanks for watching.